Let's go back to that corporate athlete thing a bit before we get into supplements and so on. Where do you think that's going then in terms of research and the development of the sports performance nutrition field?
Yeah, it's a great way to look at it. And there's a few things that you mentioned there when you mentioned like the military or the fire service. And for years we have done research in these areas. And some of that we've translated to sport, and some sport we've translated to that area. So, for example, there was some great research from our university about a decade ago now, led by Warren Gregson, who was looking at cooling strategies in firefighters. So, they've been in a burning building. Obviously, they get really warm, they come out. How can we effectively cool them so they can go back in and do the unbelievable job that the fire service do? And some of that research involved forearm cooling, and showing the thermoregulatory effects of that. Jump forward to the Rugby World Cup this year in France. The opening games were a bit warm, and we were using some of that research from military to help us with our cooling strategies. Similar for some of the work on stress that Neil Walsh does in immune health in military personnel. Some great research coming from there, which then we can translate back to sport. But then all of this, you put it all together and say, right, okay, how can we help everybody? Because we've probably been spending the last decade, well, I certainly have, the last decade trying to help, highly privileged individuals earn a bit more money. And that's maybe a flippant way to look at it, but you know what I mean. And what I'm thinking now is this information we know, which is absolutely basic in our world. We make sure that all our athletes, we test them for vitamin D, and we will correct a vitamin D deficiency. We'll look for, if they're tired, we might run a full iron profile, and chances are we might pick up something going on there. We know that if they're going through, they want to train, which a corporate athlete does, but we need to fuel that properly. And if we don't get the protein right, for example, then not only are they not going to get the growth in muscle that they're looking for, but they could become immunocompromised. So there's lots of things that we know from the sporting world that if we can begin to translate some of it to the corporate world, not only we're going to get a better performance when we go back to our performance nutrition angle, but we could be looking after some long-term health. And we all know the state of how much pressure the NHS is under at the moment. So if we can use some of our knowledge to help the general health of the population and keep them out of the NHS, well, that can only be a good thing.